segments recorded for the Blackout series, artists address in their music the different issues that confront Black Australians today. While other pioneering black singer-songwriters like Bob Randall, Herbie Lawton and Isaac Yammer received only local exposure, Sydney-born Bobby McLeod made this appearance on ABC national television last year.
Any peace, I was sick of all the hurt and all the screaming. Stuck there laying in the gutter, brother, didn't bring me no relief. So I stopped and thought about the black man's dreaming. Well, how did I stoop into this aimless sort of mind, feeling insecure and stumbling through half blind? There were times before me when a man could really give, and so it was the past, my friend, that changed the way I live. Believe me when I say I heard a language of my own. It cleansed my soul, released me from my grave.
Kev Carmody, son of a Queensland drover, emerged last year as an uncompromising new artist. His debut album, Pillars of Society, was widely hailed.
Black brother dead down in the Roebourne jail. One black martyr crucified and the cops drove in the nails. 200 years of custody, not allowed no bail. How do you face the mornings? This injustice still prevails. I say, show me the justice to be had here in this land. Show us blacks the justice for every black human being. Show us blacks the justice in this white democracy, when you can execute us without a trial while we're held in a custody. Well, there's one black brother gunned down outside the Moree town. The communities across this land, we mourned as they laid him down. 200 years have been forced to stand, beg outside the door. Well, the system treats the symptoms, it never attacks the cause. I say, show me the justice to be had here in this land. Show us blacks the justice for every black human being. Show us blacks the justice in this white democracy, when you can execute us without a trial while we're held in a custody.
Aboriginal women are also emerging on the music scene. Their styles are as varied as their male counterparts, and they're taking centre stage with innovative performances. Here's Frances Peters.
"'Tis the ancestors' words when the fire's voice is heard. 'Tis the ancestors' words in the voice of the waters. Hush, hush. Those who have died have never, never left. The dead are not under the earth. They are in the rustling trees. They are in the Roman bush. They are in the crying grass. They are in the morning rocks. The dead are not under the earth. So listen more often to things than to beings. Listen more often to things than to beings. 'Tis the ancestors' words when the fire's voice is heard. 'Tis the ancestors' words in the voice of the waters. Hush.
Victorian Archie Roach captures in his music a story all too common amongst Aboriginal Australians.
Breaking a mother's heart, tearing us all apart, took them away. The welfare and the policemen said you've got to understand, we'll give to them what you can't give. Teach them how to really live. Teach them how to live, they said. Humiliated them instead. Taught them that and taught them this. And others taught them prejudice. You took the children away. Yeah, the children away. Snatched from their mother's breast, said this is for the best, took them away. I took the children away. Yeah, the children away. Breaking our mother's heart, tearing us all apart, took them away.
Singing and storytelling is a strong tradition in Aboriginal culture. Classical artist Marucci is helping to keep that tradition alive.
Kara kara kiruka, jabin jabin kiruka, jabin jabin kiruka, kara kara kiruka, jabin jabin kiruka, jabin jabin kiruka, kara kara kiruka, jabin jabin kiruka, jabin jabin kiruka, kara kara kiruka, jabin jabin kiruka.
I don't think anyone really goes into music for the money. You know, you either do it because you love it and it's your life and you put your heart into it, and if the money comes, well, that's a bonus, you know. I mean, it's hard for everybody these days, whether you're white or black. I mean, there's less venues around the country, and like 5 years ago there was a lot more venues. Things are a lot tighter everywhere, but I think the good thing about being in an Aboriginal band, from my point of view, is you have this ready-made network of support. As you can go anywhere in the country and know there's people that will help you out, you know, if you're touring in small communities and that. And I think if they use that as their power base, you can always spring from there and into the wider market.
A major element of that support network is Black Community Radio, now heard all over the country.
And we'll keep the black music rolling here at Radio Redfern, the FM station that makes your black heart burn. It's coming up at 10 minutes to 11, and Mick and Minya will be taking you through till 12 o'clock with some non-stop Koori music. If there's any requests at all, if you'd like to ring 698-3229. As long as it's Koori music you're requesting, I'll play it for you. Hope you're having a happy black day.
Sydney's Radio Redfern stages shows at an almost legendary black cabaret venue in Chippendale called The Settlement. It was here that Melbourne's Joe Geyer appeared with Mixed Relations in a benefit concert.
These are things of our lives. So let me tell you people, we are the ones living our lives under the clock. We have got to fight for our rights every day and every night, but nobody knows. Uncle Willie, but he knows about you. Now we are alive, my Uncle Willie, for our lives are like his. Yes, our lives are like his. For our lives are like his. Uncle Willie, Uncle Willie, Uncle Willie, my Uncle Willie, he's my father's brother. Uncle Willie, my father's brother, my mother's brother, he's my father.
In contrast to what's happening in Sydney, there are places where musicians are still struggling. In a story from Western Australia, Michelle White talks to some of those musicians in Perth.
The music scene in Perth is thriving. New bands are forming, new venues opening. Both are getting good publicity. But what about the Aboriginal music scene? Well, the potential Aboriginal talent is not going unnoticed. In fact, there's a centre which caters for up-and-coming Aboriginal musicians. This is it. It's called Ab Music, and it's a place where Aborigines can learn, practice and perform their own music.
There's two places in Australia I believe that Aboriginal music is really progressing better than the rest of Australia, and it's Adelaide and Perth.
I know what I've got to do before I get it through to you. Oh, I've got this feeling for you inside, but somehow I feel I've just gotta hide. 'Cause you don't own me no more. You don't know me no more. I hope by now you know the score. 'Cause you don't own me no more.
Oh, there's a lot of talent. It's just a matter of being able to channel it into the right direction.
Rick Lovegrove used to be the lead guitarist with no fixed address. Now he's a tutor with Ab Music. He's one of the many people fighting to give Aboriginal rock music the recognition it deserves.
Well, it's been a long time on the run, though sometimes I feel it's just begun. Oh, I can't lie, my heart's too slow, but this time ain't like time before.
The 15 students at Ab Music are keen and talented, but it seems no matter how good or bad the band is, black musicians have it twice as hard as their white counterparts. For starters, white bands aren't up against two of Australia's hottest issues: racism, discrimination.
I believe there's a really good future for Aboriginal music. A lot of people are more aware and more willing to listen than ever before. But one problem that we're facing, and we've always faced, is having places to play, because automatically if there's an Aboriginal band, they're going to attract Aboriginal people, and a lot of the hotels just turn their back.
What I've seen of Aboriginal bands now is that they're getting more professional about the way they're going about things. Their attitude has really changed. Now, they've had to change their attitude to be able to compete in the broader market. And basically what we want is for the publicans out there to change their attitude now.
These aspiring Aboriginal musicians are not asking for handouts or special treatment. All they want is respect and a fair go.
I hope by now you know the score, 'cause you don't own me no more.
In Brisbane, few bands have beaten the odds stacked against black musicians. Dennis Conlon and his band, Mop and the Dropouts, broach an important local issue. It's the universal language of music. The Building Bridges compilation album, released earlier this year, was launched at the Bondi Pavilion in Sydney and saw black and white bands set an example of cooperation. The proceeds went to the National Coalition of Aboriginal Organisations.
This is a very significant occasion, very historic in a couple of different ways. First of all, it represents the first meaningful attempt at getting together between the Aboriginal community and the rock and roll or the recording industry in this country. It must also be a major precedent in being the first ever record launch with so many people from the rock and roll industry here and no grog.
I think that we got involved with Building Bridges because it makes perfect sense to us to join Aboriginal and non-Aboriginal bands on a record, and because it contains a message which we think is central to the future of this country, that we have got to get on with one another and we have got to recognise that Aboriginal people have their place in the country and have a claim on being treated properly in the country. And it's been something which we've been involved with for many years, and it was only natural that we'd get a song on the thing somewhere.
A year earlier, the Building Bridges project got underway with a benefit concert at the Pavilion. It was only fitting that it featured Black Lace, led by the much-loved Max Silver. Black Lace had played the Traps for nearly 20 years.
Before you give me long, take a look at yourself. Running around with some other guy, you just don't get on yourself. See, come on back home, baby, and try my love one more time. Come on back home, baby, I say try my love one more time. Running around with some other guy, you just don't get on it now. Boy, excuse me, take a look at yourself. Boy, you give me long, take a look at yourself. Running around with some other guy, you just don't get on yourself.
Max Silver died early this year, but not before seeing the release of the Building Bridges album. Black bands had earned equal billing on the album, something Max Silver had always worked towards.
Well, Max Silver and Black Lace, they were synonymous with Aboriginal music. Everyone knew them. And I feel that a lot of Max Silver has rubbed off on a lot of Aboriginal entertainers. Of course, Black Lace will always be there, while ever the memory of Max Silver is alive, is remembered rather, and this gives the new bands the incentive to go on, because Black Lace was around for 20 years. They say, all right, they can be around for 20 years, we're going to be around for 20 years. So I feel that the memory, the music, and the overall drive of Max Silver and Black Lace will be around forever.
Running around with some other guy, you just don't get on yourself.
If Mac was denied the recognition he deserved, it must have warmed his heart to see a younger generation of black musicians break through. Given the enormous progress made since bands like Black Lace first hit the stage and the increasing demand for black music, what is the future for the new generation of black music makers?
It's amazing to see the development since we started. It's like the rock festival coming up, there's just a host of bands coming out, all got something to say, they've all using a few original songs. So, I think it's very healthy.
I say, come on back home, baby.
Pick your own style. Pick what's in your heart. And pick songs to pick up and educate, not to sort of sit and cry.
Aboriginal bands are now being heard all over Australia and achieving international acclaim. However, the industry survivors still maintain you've got to tell it like it is. You've got to sing it in your music.